so first off, all of the people that helped in this particular discussion, please pitch in if I'm forgetting things or if I'm not remembering important things. I took notes as best I could, but I'm not sure if I can actually read my own notes. So we'll just kind of see how this goes. So we talked about content and basically what is it that we're going to do? What is somebody going to expect to experience when they come to this meeting? And so one of the things that we did talk about is do we do lectures? Do we do lightning talks? Do we do workshops, discussions? And I think all of those are on the table. But something that we did talk about, one is kind of the distinctiveness of the three groups and still wanting some representation of that. If somebody's been invited here because, hey, we're one of three groups that meets basically in the same time, same space, but this is the Tulsa Agile Practitioners, and they come here and the only topics are technical topics on SQL Server and SharePoint. This isn't really helping me as an Agile person, and I'm here looking for connection or looking to learn about that. And so, kind of the idea being, we may need to have, up to 3 different topics being presented on each meeting, and the idea being, we're probably going to have different topics presented in parallel, similar to what the .NET or what the Web Devs meeting does, but maybe with a little bit more structure, maybe with a little bit more preparation. We talked about having an agenda deadline, so to speak. So we probably at the end of each meeting will set an idea for, okay, here's the content that's on the agenda for next time, and it may be subject to change, but the idea being we're going to have a plan for what we're going to talk about, and we're going to continually evolve that plan and maintain and curate a topic backlog and make sure that backlog is representative of things that are actually of interest to the people in the group. We talked a lot about fostering what kind of a culture as far as what topics are being presented and how are they being presented. We talked a lot about kind of pulling and leaning towards interactivity, something that you can't get from YouTube. And I believe it was Philip who said the .NET developer group lost attendance because they started recording their talks and people just didn't come. Oh, I can just watch the talk on YouTube. So we need to do something compelling so that we encourage people to actually come and attend and network and interact with people. One of the other things we talked about is just the quality of the content, the quality of the presentations, the quality of what's going on. We said we're going to call them topics. We're not going to call them presentations or talks, because a topic might be a workshop where it's really all very interactive. There's not somebody just standing up and talking. A topic might be a scavenger hunt, something silly, just for the sake of building camaraderie or something like that. But the general idea being that a topic is basically just a word that we're going to use to say this is something that we're going to do together as a group, whether it's we've already talked about all that. We also kind of outlined just a rough sort of meeting format. So just like we did tonight, we start off with food, socializing, give that a half an hour or so, maybe do an icebreaker. And then kind of a very crucial turning point is for all of the people who are facilitating, and we called it facilitating because it may not be a straight up leadership thing. I think that was what you had mentioned, maybe not necessarily straight up leadership, but just somebody who's sort of responsible for keeping each topic on the rails. We'll come and do a 1-minute elevator pitch. So we'll have 3 people come up, 4 people, however many topics we have. Here's an elevator pitch. Here is what we're going to be doing. Here's the interesting high points of why you should be wanting to come and attend this one. And after that, people disperse to go and participate in whatever topic they'd like to. It takes 50 minutes to an hour, and then at the end of it, we all come back together as a larger group. We talk about what's in the backlog of topics. We pick the next few topics that we want to talk about. We make a tentative plan for, okay, who's going to bring these topics, who's going to facilitate them, and then maybe have a retrospective. Okay, how did things work for this meeting? What can we do better next time? Who's responsible for kind of pushing that forward and making sure that happens? And okay, help me out, guys. What am I forgetting? What am I missing?
The lightning talk idea, where we were saying to help expand the number of presenters that we got. We try to maybe once a quarter or so encourage everyone to come with a 2 to 5 minute lightning talk. That way they'll come, and someone will maybe get hooked and they say, hey, I really like this, I like the feedback I got, and they'll start developing more talks. We were thinking we try to periodically try to get everyone encouraged to come and be ready to present.
Yes.
So would that be like, instead of having multiple tracks, multiple topics, a single track, lots of little topics?
We considered that as one way, or we might have that as being just one of multiple tracks. We might have one presentation from one of the other groups, and maybe one of the tracks would then be just a series of lightning talks. So we did either way.
Nice.
And maybe if there wasn't anything else that time, maybe we would just do a single theme of lightning talks.
And that also reminds me, we spent some time talking about fostering a community of professionals, a community of practice, and the idea that maybe we should be thinking about encouraging everybody who's a regular attendee, bring some content, bring a topic, even if it's just a lightning talk every 6 months. Be prepared and be thinking about, as a part of participating here, I should be thinking about how can I actually bring something to share with this community of professionals. And we also talked about, so how do we facilitate feedback so that if I'm a really terrible presenter, I don't get stuck in the American Idol problem, mommy says I'm a great singer. And so, the idea of, okay, maybe we should self-identify, hey, will you be a mentor for me and give me honest feedback on what I'm doing? Should we provide mentors? And I think we'll kind of feel that out as time goes on. I think we'll sort of, people over process, Jason.
Bing!
Figure that out, but I think that, the idea of we should be talking about, okay, hey, I talked to so-and-so about my talk, and he said that I did this, or he said I did that, and sort of being open, being candid with the rest of the group as far as, okay, I'm seeking out feedback. This is something when you do your talks, you should do as well.
It would be a really cool introductory topic for a person who is working through presentation, is talking about how they're getting better at presenting.
We actually talked about that very thing. Yes. Is that one of the topics could be how to present.
This is too meta. My head, it hurts. Okay, what am I forgetting, guys?
I think that most of it.
Peace.
Yeah, so one of the things was we were talking about having multiple topics at the same time. We talked about how we're not necessarily going to be there next month. But we're going to work our way that way.
Oh my
That was Adrian.
So, sorry, say that one more time.
What was I saying?
I don't
Something about us not having enough people.
Yeah, so we're talking about having three topics at the same time, almost simultaneously. We may not necessarily be there right away, but we're going to grow towards that.
Correct. Yeah, and I think it's probably appropriate for us to feel like, as we're working this out, as we're it's like whack-a-mole. As we feel this out, don't feel bad if we have to say end the night early. It's not really going to end. I mean, we may say, hey, we're done with our topic discussion, but invariably, people are going to stick around. People are going to have the time. People are going to go on scavenger hunts. Who knows? This is a great part of town for scavenger hunts. If you are watching, Tulsa is a great place to come have a scavenger hunt. Good.
The one thing we did say is it's really important to try to get group interaction. And not just someone talking to everyone at the same time, but getting some type of group interaction going. That's be good for the presenter as well as everyone. Yeah. It helps focus the interest of where the group actually has interest at.
Less about discouraging kind of the traditional lecture format and more about encouraging interactivity. Lectures aren't bad, but interactivity is better.
And also, we had a caveat on the number of talks where it's possible we have 3 talks that one might be really well attended and 2 might be very sparsely attended. So that's something to keep in mind.
Can you talk about retrospectives? Something I don't think you talked about.
Yes, we did. So we had two things that we talked about in terms of retrospectives and feedback. One being the people bringing the topics and making sure that they're getting the feedback they need in order to continue getting better at presenting. And then the other being the retrospective time that we should be spending probably every meeting, just asking a question of how did we as a group do? Are there things that went well that we need to call out? Are there things that didn't go so well that we need to talk about? And of course, the most important part is what are we going to do about the things that didn't go well? And making sure that there's a plan of action there instead of it just being a gripe fest.
Also, I think, what topics do we want to bring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For next meeting.
So meaning we
Kind
should
of-
talk now about what topics we should do
At
next
the
month.
end, at the
Or the-
end
or
of
the month after that.
As
the
part of the retrospective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, let's go ahead and hold that till the retrospective, and we can have a quick one after we're done here. So let's go
Lloyd,
ahead.
thank you for presenting our groups.
Yes.
Absolutely. Great job. And then we had one other group. Whoever would like to come up and talk from that other group and sort of work us through what you did, come on up.
It actually frightened me when I saw myself. I was like, oh God, like, who is that? I frightened myself.
Sort of the all-seeing eye of Sauron just turning to face you. Okay, you've got a mark. Post-its are good for everything.
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of the stuff we talked about kind of touched on content as well. I think that was the biggest grouping up there anyway, so there was some overlap. So I want to touch on that first. As far as having the 3 separate talks, we think that's great, but I think we should have, what we were saying was 2 talks happening at the same time for like 30 minutes or whatever, and then the same talks happen again, but people swap. So that if you're interested in the other topic, you're not left out. Because otherwise, if it's not recorded, then you just missed out. You might want to attend both. So just something to think about on that. So we tried to come up with name ideas and a group purpose. And you guys also hit on this, which was bringing together professionals, not just of any one group. So I'll just run through the list of purposes we had. It was build connections, build skill set to be a better professional, share experiences, let's see, have reliable sources, because just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true.
What? My life is a
Where'd you
lie.
hear that?
Did you get this open space thing?
Wikipedia. No,
We also talked about mentorships, live case studies and demos, being able to do things hands-on. So a lot of overlap here. Staying relevant. What's the next? What's out now? Why jump on it? Why not jump on it? I mean, what's the pros and cons of just not blindly adopting something? It's free knowledge. You don't have to pay. You can get things on Pluralsight and lynda.com and some other areas, but if you can't pay for it, how do you get that same content or similar content?
open source talks.
Yes. Yeah, Al said it was sometimes you feel like you're stuck. How do you get unstuck? How do you even know you're stuck with something, even if you don't have the solutions? Sometimes you're looking for that eureka moment. So this group could foster all that. Basically find what you're missing. So before I get into name ideas, we kind of came up with a tagline that we kind of stick to, but we'll let you know. Basically, it's connect, share, and solve.
CSS. Awesome.
Huh? Yeah, dude, got that.
I don't like it anymore.
It's too brittle. I'm sorry.
As far as
Get the scoop, stay in the loop.
we were trying to start on a mission statement. What we got so far was to connect IT practitioners, to share experiences, help each other solve problems, find solutions. So we don't have something solidified yet, but it's something to get thinking on. Basically, our main ideas or the words we like are solutions, connections, and practitioners. For the group name, we kind of want to have practitioners because if you say group, it's kind of confining. Because I don't know, it seems like it's its own little thing. Practitioner, it's anybody that does it can be involved. That's kind of what we're leading towards. Let's see. So some of the name ideas. A lot of them are Tulsa Tech. So Tulsa Tech Federation, Tulsa Tech Talks, Tulsa Tech Professionals. Then we went to T-Town Tech Talks, Tulsa Tech Alliance. But it's like we struggle with trying to find a name that encompasses all of us. And we're not all developers, we're not all coders, it's not all software. If we just say IT, I mean, are we involving networking people, hardware? I mean, I don't know, where does it stop? So, let's see.
Not all data people are IT.
Right. So, that's the challenge, and that's why we didn't come up with a name. Plus, we want everyone's input on the name. So,
What about Tulsa Technologists?
let's technology.
Tulsa Technologists United, GTU.
Tulsa United.
Well, we have
Like
Tulsa
RSS?
I like the
RSS?
Riot, it's very Star Warsy.
Yes.
Well, we have Tulsa Problem Solvers, and then I was like, well, can you imagine the kinds of phone calls we're gonna get? Because it's not. So, is there anything I'm leaving out?
I mean, no, I think that was pretty much it. I just really want to leave it up to kind of a vote and ideas as far as names. We just kind of came up with general ideas, but we can leave it open for discussion and maybe to vote on like at the end of it.
One of the things you said at the beginning was like having 2 talks and then you rotate them.
Mhm.
Well, we had kind of thrown out that we forgot, that Boyd didn't mention we forgot about is maybe have someone do their presentation 2 months in a row. That way, people that caught it 1 month could come back and catch it the next month.
We spent a lot of time trying to think of like, what problem are we trying to solve? And something that seems to connect both of the groups is like, when I was just talking about it, we're actually doing something. And if you look at how we organized tonight, I mean, it's kind of interesting because we broke off and we formed these open spaces and we talked about all this stuff and we came up with like actionable items. I mean, maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's the reason why we exist and we're not just going to like YouTube or something. Is that we're actually doing something as a group. We're not just listening. We're doing something.
I also talked about one of our strengths as a group is that we don't discover one area of technology or development practice. It's really cross-functional group, so you can come here and probably whatever area you have a problem with, and need a solution. There's probably someone here who has an answer for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's take care of some business here with the video real quick. We've had the good summaries from both groups. Thank you, guys. It's wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and conclude this video, and then this will be uploaded somewhere on the internet tonight. I don't know exactly where. Yeah. So, thank you all for participating in the video. I'll go ahead and cut this off, and we'll move on to whatever we need to. We've got a little bit more time here tonight, and we'll have a quick retro. Let's make sure that people go out of here knowing what, if anything, they're taking responsibility for doing so that we can get stuff done. Thank you, Internet. Thank you for watching. I don't know who you are yet, but hopefully we'll figure it out and you can come join us.